Lizzo has made a career of promoting self-love and body acceptance.
You know what I realized? I am gorgeous. I am the beauty standard.
Body positivity has exploded in recent years, led by activists like Australian of the Year, Taryn Brumfitt.
We weren't born into the world hating our bodies. This is something the world has taught us.
At the same time, Australia is grappling with one of the highest rates of obesity in the world. So, does body acceptance minimise the health risks of being overweight? It's just one of the questions we're unpacking in this special roundtable discussion.
When I say I'm fat, I say I'm fat, I'm tall, I'm wearing a blue dress. Those are all just facts about me. It doesn't mean anything about who I am as a person and whether I'm a good or a bad person.
How have people judged you on your appearance?
People feel really entitled to speak to me about how I look when I don't even know them. So I think the way that I've been judged for the most part has been, oh, yeah, you're fat, but I like you, so I'll talk about your good qualities. She's fat, but she's so funny. Oh, you have such a beautiful face. You could be a model if you lost weight.
Mark, you describe yourself as a joyous fat person.
Yes. Humor for me has always been a survival mechanism. And that's what got me through high school and all that. I'm a year 10 formal. I wore a chest binder to hide that I had man boobs, which is sad to think about, but then I'm also thinking about now where I am, where I can comfortably wear a tight top and love it.
Michelle, you held your first fitness class when you were 14 years old.
I did.
What were the messages you received about your body? Did you ever dislike what you saw in the mirror?
Yeah, I think like most young girls, boys too, you look in the mirror and you think, I don't stack up to what I'm supposed to look like. Maybe I'm not the fittest or the strongest or the prettiest girl in school, and what can I do about that?
As an impressionable teen, I think I felt really strongly that my body was a failure, that I was a failure because I wasn't able to be like the people who had aspirational bodies. I now know that the messages that I received from the media, from television, from every source of public voice, I'm not a failure. I'm not the problem. This message around bodies and perfection is the problem, yes. And I'm done with it.
So what was the turning point for you? You love your body.
Yeah.
How did you get to that point?
So I have done all of the diets. I had a procedure and then I had a child. And I thought, I never want him to feel about himself the way I felt.
Who's to blame for the idea that larger bodies are bad?
We're talking about mainstream media, fashion, doctors who don't want to see fat patients, social media that normalises being fat phobic, that glorifies the idea of thinness over health.
Would you put the fitness industry in that same category?
Yeah, I would. And I'd be really honest and say I was somewhat nervous about coming here today to see you because I would genuinely say that the show The Biggest Loser was one of the most traumatic things that ever happened to me.
Yeah, I hear you. I absolutely hear you. And going on a show like that back in the day, I really had to dig deep and question my morals around why I am in the health industry and why I'm in the fitness industry.
Now, having talked to you and heard everything that you've just said about how you feel about yourself, you, like me, are just somebody who's struggled against the idea that you need to be perfect.
Of course.
Right. But the edit, because, you know, television, still made me feel like someone who had the same values as you was someone who would make me feel shame.
Right here, right now. Good girl, good girl. When I look back on it 17 years ago, it was a totally different culture back then. I don't think that show would work today. In fact, I know it wouldn't.
67% of Aussie adults are overweight or obese, which increases their risk of developing chronic conditions, including kidney and heart disease, diabetes and some cancers. Dr Rami Bishay treats people with obesity-related health problems.
Many of them have never seen a doctor because they're actually worried they might break the chair in the waiting room or the bed. In fact, in my clinic, I purposely got chairs that can take up to 350 kilos and they're wide. I want them to feel comfortable. No one should feel judged, because if you feel judged, then the game's over. We're not going to get anywhere.
The doc knows what it's like to feel judged because he too has struggled to overcome obesity.
When I hear the word fat, I immediately think of bullying. I think of devaluing somebody, and it can cause so much emotional damage from such an early age.
What are some of the stigmas associated with obesity?
They're lazy, they're sloppy, unmotivated. Most of them are actually the complete opposite. They're hardworking, they've got children, they've got mortgages, they're bleeding from time and energy, and they're not lazy people.
Obesity rates are higher in areas of economic disadvantage, like Western Sydney, where Dr. Bichet's clinic is.
Can you be fit and fat?
That's a loaded question. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this. So what we're talking about fit is no presence of diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, fatty liver, etc., etc. Longer term, the more somebody remains in the obese state, there is some studies suggesting that 6 to 10 years down the road, they may start developing some health issues. And that's what I really focus on. It's not about the kilos, it's about health. In fact, when patients say to me, I want to lose an extra 10 kilos, but hold on, you don't have any health issues, so why are you trying to lose weight? What if you just maintain where you are? Because you're healthy now. You're healthy.
I want to talk about Lizzo. I'm going to fangirl for a minute, just in the sense that Lizzo is typically a healthy person. They have a vegan diet, they exercise often, and they also have one of the best, performance staminas across, modern pop stars. But they're still chastised, just like, this person ticks all your boxes of what healthy is. So then why haven't you left them alone?
So how do we parent our kids in a way that isn't body shaming? For example, I was put on a diet when I was 9 years old by a dance teacher. I was counting calories. I was a kid.
You don't want to give them ideas about fat this, fat that. Say healthy, not healthy. You can have a little bit as a treat. And that's the kind of language we want to give our kids.
April, what about with your little boy?
Conversations where he comments on my body, I think we try to really neutralise those. So trying to remind him that we don't talk about the way people look because that's not the most important thing about them.
Yeah.
And I think to your point around food, conversations around what is going to make your body feel strong, what's going to help you feel strong, help you play better, and what just tastes good and we like to eat it because it tastes nice.
So when we say like 67% of Australians are currently considered obese, do we need to tackle that number then, or do we need to change the way we see obesity? What is the answer here?
I'm going to say our work is cut out for us because we've got now very effective weight loss tools and medications. And I think one of the biggest problems is the social media has taken up this fight as well and promoted a lot of medications for weight loss, which have actually damaged the industry more than anything. Because now people are going in seeking weight loss for all completely the wrong reasons. I don't want you to come and see me just because I want to fit in skinny jeans. I want you to need a needle to do that for me. And I think that's the wrong reason. And I think it starts with the medical profession, I have to say. I think we have to lead that fight.
Gosh, I think we've got to kind of take a step back and look at why so many of us want to look differently to how we do. I mean, this is not a new conversation. This has been going on for decades.
The main thing for me that will show us that we've really changed is when we're not feeling like it's a tick box, and that when we look to people who are our idols, who are our people that give us, who role model to us, that they're different, that they evolve, and that they represent everybody.
And can I just say how much I would have needed to see a chat like that? And I have to say hats off, Sarah, for the way you facilitated that, because I think on the flip side of that, as someone who has always been petite and thin, I've had my body glorified and people just expect that I'm super fit at times where I have been unhealthy and struggled with disordered eating. And seeing conversations like that, I think it's so important to change people's ideas of what weight is, because it's not a sole determinant of health. Hell, it's not an indicator of your worth either. So that was beautiful. Thank you for that.
Look, I've got a huge thank you to Mark and Michelle and April. They were so incredible, and Dr. Rami as well. It's a conversation we do need to keep having though, because those figures are very high.
And I love the involvement of doctors in it.
Yes.
That's the thing, because I think we run into problems when people start staking out positions, including on things like health, and actually they don't know much about that aspect of it. And that's on both sides of this argument, by the way.
Of course.
It's really important.